Okay.
Alrighty, we're back on. Oh, not yet.
Yeah, it's hearing us.
A little.
Okay, we're good.
Alrighty, so we're back now. Alrighty, we're back on. Oh, not yet.
But why are
Can we
we,
mute it? In my work, I would just mute it.
if I mute it, then we don't have a recording.
We're back now. Hey, just turn the volume off too.
There we go.
Perfect. Alrighty, back on. Interesting morning with technology. Okay, so I believe the officer has a question.
Peter, I have a question for you regarding the roof. Are you in agreement with the statement that he made that that there is documentation showing that we can handle the weight and having people walk back and forth?
I have a copy of the original blueprints here in front of me, and I would have to review the original, but it does look like they are showing if the plans call it a deck, then I believe it would be designed as a deck. But I'd have to confirm that with the original prints, because this is not 100% legible. It's 8.5 by 11 of a 24 by 36 plan.
Okay.
So we can review that in the office at your convenience. And but like I said, if it was specified on the original prints as a deck, then it would be structurally designed for the pedestrian traffic.
Okay, so we'll get together on that, and if I can take that off, I will.
The one thing in hearing you talk about the deck in the original plans is the concern about occupancy. Because obviously there's going to be live loads that need to be calculated with that flat roof. But my concern is I don't want there to be 200, 300 people on that deck because somebody's had to throw a party and that thing collapses.
I would just like to say, we don't even allow our tenants out there. The chair that you just recently saw, I don't know why that's out there, but that will be removed. We don't let them hang out there, have barbecues up there or anything, just walking. One tenant is gone. We didn't renew them
Okay.
because of this issue. The next tenant, when their lease is up, we're not renewing them as well because of this issue. So they'll be vacant because of this.
How is it enforced? Is there somebody that every once in a while checks? Or
Yeah, we do monthly property inspections. So we're there at least once a month, if not more. But I know it's right there, so I'll go by now.
even in this camera, they're like
Yeah,
garbage. You can put them on there and monitor.
and we have a good relationship with our
Good,
tenants.
because that was my concern. I'm hearing this is like, oh my God, there's a huge party and that thing collapses. And
Yeah.
something
definitely.
happens. Okay. Alrighty. So Joy was gonna see, please. All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violations that exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into full compliance within 90 days. Otherwise, face a fine of $250 a day until the violations are corrected. And obviously, you know what to do. Stay in touch with her. Let her know when you're getting
I need to get,
care of.
I need a date specific.
Oh, and didn't this? I forgot the.
90 days, 1 moment.
We could do like 3 hearings.
I don't know, are we in March?
It'll be June.
June what? What's the hearing date in June?
So that's, the hearing date in June is the 30th. So you want to do June 30th?
The June 30th. June 30th. And then I'm also granting the city's requested amount of $425.29 for administrative cost.
And
That's payable.
Daily 250?
That's going to be payable the same date as the hearing, the June, what was it?
30th.
June 30th date.
Was the daily 250 or 150?
250 is today. So definitely stay in touch with her. So those start accruing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. And that's on, oh, wait, on the order that is, the 90 days is conditioned on nobody occupying that deck, that top deck or the stairs. If they do, then that 90 days shrinks down to 10 days. That'll keep you
So we'll
having anybody there.
block off that door.
Oh, there's a warning. Yeah, that's probably. I don't know if you can block the door. Hold on, because that could be fire violation too.
Well, it is the secondary means of egress, but they're in really bad shape. So,
It's not safe even for emergency.
right, it really
Okay.
is not.
So no, the city would rather.
I'd rather
The
block.
city, you have it in recording that they told you to go ahead and.
Yeah, I would feel safer with people not going. I
So let's.
went up
Okay.
to the third step yesterday and I didn't even want to go up any further.
Okay, so yeah, then lock it. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. You'll get something in the mail. All right, next case, whenever. Oh, sorry.
Well, all of this combobbled.
In the morning. All right. Is it, is it easier just to record it and then upload it onto YouTube? Is that an option?
That's what we're trying to figure that out as well.
Because I see you're using Zoom. Zoom has the record
Yeah.
ability. That's when I know about that about Zoom. All right, side again.
Okay, we are recording. Yeah, we're just gonna go to Zoom. Not gonna worry about YouTube.
Okay,
It's not working.
I'll see you later. All righty, next.
Okay, next case is page 17, item number 46, case number 22-172. Property address is 530 North G Street. Property owner is Erie LWG5 LLC. Fire Inspector Del Rossi.
Inspector Del Rossi, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. Property address is 530 North G Street. I initially went and completed the inspection on August 24th, 2021, for just a routine annual inspection of the property. Found there to be multiple large violations. I went back yesterday and completed the re-inspection just to have the most up-to-date information. And the violations that are still pending is I still have not been able to gain access to all of the units to notice, to see if there are any other issues in those units. There have been multiple changes made to the building since the last approved floor plan. And so we need all those changes permitted, changes in layout of units, tenant separation walls, those type of things. The address needs to be, the unit addresses are on there, but what I did notice yesterday, they put the address up, the main address up, but they didn't put it on the North G side, they put it on the side street, so it just
Okay.
needs to be moved over. I just noticed that yesterday. We need to get the electrical meters labeled, the breakers labeled, disconnects marked. Let's see. There are multiple tenants that are spraying flammable and combustible materials paint without a spray booth. I actually caught something yesterday in the middle of painting an entire truck in their unit. Watched them get everything, all spray equipment out of there before I left. You see all flammable and combustible liquids need to be kept in flammable storage cabinets. They need to have NFPA 80 door inspections on all egress or fire rated doors. There needs to be inspected, tagged, and mounted fire extinguishers every 75 feet. There are some units that do not have them. They need to be in units that are just used for storage. And I don't know with those other units I couldn't get into. There are locks on doors that are slide locks, key locks, padlocks, and bars. They can only have thumb turn locks, so all those have to be removed. There are exit signs and emergency lights that need to be repaired. There are units within this building that are being supplied from the building next door, 526, which is not allowed. So they need to look at the entire electrical system of the building to see why we have power coming from another building and look at it. You know, the electrical engineer needs to look at it and see exactly what needs to be done to bring it up to NFPA 70, which is the electrical code standards. And then we have extension cords being used, like little refrigerators and microwaves that need to be plugged directly into units. And then there are units that have spliced power cords and hardwired extension cords that need to be removed. And if they need to have other things, they either need to replace them with full power cords, or there's one that's going to the lift. That whole lift needs to be permitted because it wasn't permitted.
Okay.
So those are the violations that are still pending as of yesterday.
All right, I hear from the property representative. Please state your name and relationship to the case, please.
Good morning, Magistrate. Dylan Brandenburg Associates, PA, on behalf of the Iyer Group, the property owner. Thank you for having us here this morning. This property's got problems, and no one's here to say otherwise. What I am here today to tell you is that the property owner is 100% committed to resolving them and has already begun the process to do so. I brought some documents I'd like to submit to the magistrate, if it's acceptable for me to do
Absolutely.
so.
I'd let the city attorneys.
Copy for city staff. You gotta forgive me, my printer decided to crap out on me this morning. It's not the best quality photos,
Very good.
such is life. What you have there are copies of some electrical permits that have been applied for to solve some of the ongoing issues there, as well as just some photos of the surrounding area. As the fire marshal already stated, the address signs have been put up on the buildings. For one of the other things that was stated with fire extinguishers, the property owner has gone out of their way to make sure that those have been added into the buildings. Nicole, I'm not sure if you've been inside the interiors recently, but we'd like to get you in there. Please call me anytime. We'll set something up. We want you to be in there and check the whole building out anytime. Let's make it happen. That's all I'm here today to really tell you is that we've got our permits in. We're getting the work done. It's just a big job, and it's going to take longer than a couple months for us to get it finished. Just for the magistrate's knowledge, this property already has a ton of fines and other code liens. I'm glad to see Tamika. It's nice to meet you. I've been annoying the crap out of her. But I see Peter Ringle's here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you even did a walk through the building with Mark, the property owner.
Peter Ringle with the city of Lake Worth Beach. They have submitted the permit applications. The review was completed this morning with my electrical inspector, but I have not gotten the comments back to the electrical contractor. Only minor changes are needed, and then the electrical permit will be approved.
Right.
Fantastic. Good.
Where we're at now, the property owner's guys, he's in gear. Putting additional penalties on these properties, I don't see how it's going to change the equation in any way. What we just need is more time to finish it up.
To the building officer, since you're the one who has actually seen the drawings, about how much time would they need to come into compliance?
As far as the drawings go, the changes are very minor in
Okay.
nature.
And we're talking about the scope of the permitted work.
The scope of the permitted work, everything, there's supply shortages now. I would say a minimum of 90 days.
Okay.
Better to do 120 days to do the electrical work, just out of a superabundance of caution.
Okay.
Because of supply shortages, and it's very difficult to get materials.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What about the building permits for the changes to the layouts of the units? Has that been started?
No, the only submittals that I have in the building division were for the electric.
Just from my knowledge, I spoke with Mark yesterday. He communicated to me that they were going to be doing another submission either today or at some point in the immediate future for, I believe, the layout changes. It's taken us a while to get in gear, but right now it's happening. The plans are being submitted. I'm sorry that it's taken, to this point, but that's kind of where we're at now is we're getting in gear and we just need time to make it happen.
Now, in terms of those like little items, I know I heard about the fire extinguishers and I know about the numbering of the property, but there's a couple of other items that can be addressed without the need of the permit, like the extension cords, obviously whoever's spraying out without the booth, just.
Absolutely correct. That's, I want to have you come back out to the property because I do think that some of the stuff like the extension cords, the appliances, there was like some of the tenants were having like grills or something. I'm pretty sure those have been removed.
Yeah, the grills are gone.
Okay.
What about
I want you to come back out because I think a lot of those smaller items have been.
Well, she has to go out anyway because she mentioned that there were a couple of units that you were not able to inspect, correct?
What I'm saying is from when I was there yesterday, everything that I just said are still pending violations.
Okay.
So, I found extension cords. I mean, so everything that I stated to the magistrate is what is still violations within this building.
As of at least yesterday, I don't know if you went to the property yesterday, no, but she did, so that's what she saw, okay? What about, you need to be allowed into some of the units, right?
Yes.
And you have a list of what those units are?
Yes.
Okay, so let's make that happen. And he obviously sounds like he has your contact information, right? So you guys can coordinate, all right. Let's see, so we have 90. I'm gonna, do you want to go in within the next 30 days? As a carve out in the order, or do you want to go in sooner
Sooner.
into the unit?
Yeah.
I don't want to, what's your schedule like?
Um,
How much time for them to allow you in? 5 days, 10 days, 15 days,
Why don't we say 7?
7 days?
Yeah.
Could I make a suggestion? Just say
Go ahead.
do 14. That way, what I don't want to have happen is if there's scheduling issues, we somehow become in violation of the magistrate's order. I wouldn't want that to occur.
Well, I am available any day next week, Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
So,
So yeah, we should do 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so you can take care of that, or you can get into the units you are not allowed. And she's gonna go ahead and provide you with a list of what those units were, so we can document it in writing, please. What units those were. And then she'll take care of all that, take a look at all the other stuff that you said was already done. And that way we can just narrow it down to the permit requirement portion. All right. I hereby find that the violations as stated in the list of violations that exist and continue to exist. I'm ordering the property owner to come into compliance within 120 days. Otherwise, face a fine of $250 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also ordering the property owner to allow the fire marshal to go ahead and enter the property within 7 days to inspect those units that she was not able to inspect previously, and to inspect the entirety of the property to confirm compliance as to the additional items that were represented as complied with by the the owner's representative. Okay, I'm also granting the city the administrative cost in the amount of $425.29, which shall be paid within 120 days. That's it.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Magistrate.
All right, so you guys will be in touch and she's gonna let you know what unit she needs to go in, so that way you can secure access to her from tenants or whatever it is
I'll figure it.
that's there.
What was the daily? I'm sorry, I'm
I did 120.
120.
250 days.
No, 120 days.
120 days.
What's the dollar amount per day?
Oh, 250. Because they're fired, they're 250.
Okay.
Same thing with building without a permit, tends to be 250.
I'll figure it out when I do the order. It's okay. Next is item 47, case number 22-173, Property address of 518 North G Street. Property owner is Erie LWG5 LLC. You have two cases, remember? Fire Inspector Del Rossi.
Earlier, Magistrate.
You got two cases?
They're all located close to each other.
Okay,
Yeah,
Um,
it's three separate buildings that have basically the same issues.
They're all on the same street.
Except for 526 also has the sprinkler component added to it, which hasn't been inspected or I asked for an NFPA 13 evaluation for coverage because there's areas that don't have coverage and that hasn't been addressed yet.
That's for 526.
Yes,
Was there a permit associated with that? You just haven't been out to see it or?
but there's sprinklers,
Sprinkler films?
but I can't get into where the riser could possibly be. I can see the fire department connection outside, it's in disrepair. The bell for the outside is missing. So once the inspections are done, there's gonna be quite a few issues with that.
again, those are for, you were talking about the other properties.
Yes.
On the, at least in the agenda, and I understand it's three properties, but at 518, in the same case, you have 518 G North Street, and it looks like there's also 526 North G Street.
Correct, it's one PCN number.
Got it.
There's actually the case file, just see. And again, everything that's listed on there are what we're still in violation as of when I was there yesterday. There's a page for 518 for my notes, and then right behind it is 526. I want to talk one thing about the addressing for these other two buildings. So we put up the addresses, it's a little bit different in these buildings because each unit has its own address. But the issue that's still pending is if if a tenant occupies more than one unit and they're open to each other, those doors, exit doors have to have the same address on them. So like 518 and 520 used to be two separate units, now it's one. So I believe the tenant uses 518, so all of his doors have to say 518 and the 520 has to go. So that's the addressing issue still with these two buildings. He really needs to look at who occupies what space and have the addressing reflect that.
Got it.
Now, with at least 518, I'm not seeing any electrical issues that require submission of permitting.
Oh, no, all three, not NFPA compliant, which means that they need permits for
Oh, that's
electrical throughout, yeah,
okay. So light, comma, not NFPA compliant, just in general.
yes,
Light, comma, light label meters. Okay.
yes,
Same thing with the other one, not a
yes,
electric. That one does says electric, but not NFPA 70 compliant. Okay,
yes.
got it. So we have the same issue. Did you also have issues accessing some of the units on these two buildings?
Yes,
And it looks like the scope of the work on both of them is the same as the one on 530?
Yeah.
Okay. 120. All right, so I'm gonna do it in order, from the parallel. All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance within 120 days, otherwise face a fine of $250 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also requiring the property owner to provide access to the fire marshal within 7 days, so that she can go ahead and inspect those units, and she will also be inspected at the same visit, any other items that the property's owner believes has come into compliance. I'm also awarding the city the administrative cost in the amount of $425.29 as incurred, which shall be payable, due and payable within that 120-day time frame as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to go to page 8 of the agenda, item number 28, case number 21-2754, property address at 127 South M Street. Property owner is Coral Baptist Church, Inc., Palm Beach County Fire Inspector Del Rossi.
What is it? What's that one again?
It's page 8, item number 28.
Okay, my page 8 doesn't have an item from it. Oh, there we go. I got it. All right.
Inspector Del Rossi, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. The parcel address is 127 South End Street, but there are three buildings on the property, two separate addresses. Two buildings are 127 South End Street, and then there's a smaller building that is addressed 110 South L Street. I did receive some updated information with pictures yesterday, and I have updated reports that are there, but I also would like to give them to the property so that they have them. Yeah. Okay, so what is still pending, according to what I've been receiving back and forth from the property is there are still fabrics. It's for the church building. There are still fabrics that need to be treated for flame resistance, which is 701. There needs to, again, we have an occupant load of over 300 and there's no fire alarm in the building, so the fire alarm needs to be installed. NFPA 80 door inspection needs to be done on all exit and fire rated doors. They made some changes to the stage without permits, so those changes need to be permitted. They need to submit an emergency action plan. For the educational building, which is next door, they also need to submit an emergency action plan for that. They need to submit a floor plan for the assembly areas to be approved. That building also needs NFPA 80 door inspections for the fire rated doors and exit doors. There was some foam on the walls, like cellular foam that needs to be removed. It wasn't the type that has the flame retardant inherently in the foam. That building has a fire alarm system, which is required, but is non-functioning. So it needs to be repaired so that they have a monitored fire alarm system again. And then the smaller building, 110 South L building, they have a back exit door, but there are no stairs. At the back exit door, it's quite a step down, so they need to install some stairs at the back door with the permit. That is met on site with the pastor, maintenance. There was a fire protection engineer, Jeffrey Collins, and the assistant fire marshal, Chief Henry, and to go over the violations on 5/19/21.
Go ahead and say your name and relation to the case, please.
Adrian Pensiver, and I'm a lay pastor from Church.
Okay, and how are we progressing on these violations?
Well, we have presented the paperwork for the fire alarm.
Okay,
So that's in the process. We did receive, I think the lady's name was Tiffany Mulpay, I think, is who received the paperwork. It has been a process because we do not have any drawings for that building. It's a very old building. It's a 64-year-old building. So we did manage to finally get some CAD drawings. And with those, we were able to do the layout and then make the presentation to the city. We're just waiting on that permit to be open so we can get that done. The foam has already been done. The curtains has already been done. There's a lot of things that have already been done. I don't know when was the last time we were there for a re-inspection, but a lot of these things have already been cleared. The fire rated doors, that we are actually having trouble.
okay,
We're having a hard time finding a certified inspector that is willing to show up. The last one that we managed to get a hold of, no, doesn't want to come. He just pretty much said no. So if you actually have a connection with that, I'd love to see if you can refer me to somebody.
I can't recommend anyone, but I can point you in the right direction.
Okay, there seems to be a unique job description that nobody wants to do. And that's about it. We try to pull permits for the step and for the stage.
Okay.
When we did try to do that is through one of the parishioners of the church, and they failed miserably, I guess, during the COVID. They were not taking in hand permits. They were only downloading them. And he told me that he tried 3 different times and failed miserably at it. So well, hopefully, I don't know, are you officially open that you can actually present?
Permitting has been open for,
No, actually, I actually went there on one occasion and they would not take any of the permits. They would only do it online. And I actually did it with him during that process and it did not.
well, how long was it that you went there?
When did we get this? Somewhere around, I guess, between the 415 and the 521 when we first, in between your first and the second go around.
I understand whether that building department has been operating fully.
I actually went to the building itself and they told me it wasn't here. It was on a gravel thing. I can't remember the address, I'm sorry. But they did tell us that they were not taking us and they gave us all the instructions to upload them. And we did. I can actually show you the paperwork that we tried to upload and it continually failed. And I spoke to a lady by the name of Ashley Montes.
Okay.
And she told me to try again and communicate. And I failed miserably. Here's the paperwork that we actually presented 3 different times and it just would not come up.
So was the problem a technical problem that you weren't
I
able to
am going to
physically
say it was
submit it?
either us messing up when we uploaded or the system not accepting them. It did say that it took them in and every time we called to inquire about it, they kept telling us that it did not come through. Here's the paperwork with all the information that we attempted to.
Yeah, if you have an evidence of the attempt to upload or that it went through.
It doesn't do that. It just tells you that the paperwork has been approved. It doesn't do anything else.
When you upload it, you can't get approved. That has to be reviewed before it gets approved.
It said that it has been received.
Oh, received,
The system
okay.
just tells you that it's been received, but it doesn't give you a reference number or anything. Here's what we attempted to.
Mayor Bursch, go ahead and go to the attorney.
The second time I actually did it with him because I actually went to the city myself.
So you went to the city and you submitted them
We went to the
physically?
city and they told us that we could not submit it in person. That we
Oh, so you
could
haven't
do
been
it
back
on-
to the city to try to do it in person?
I know that this gentleman was doing us a favor in doing so, and we were trying to save the money from doing so. We will definitely bring it in hand and deliver it in hand. Does it even have the date on there?
Is it a notary that has a date of June 21st? I'm sorry, June 24th.
Yeah, June 24th, 2021 is when we tried to do that.
Okay.
So actually after the second meeting, not after the first.
And you're still using that MBR Services Inc.?
Yes, yes. I was trying to do the errands myself.
Now, this is only, okay, so this is regarding the step behind the building
And the extension.
and the stage extension.
There's a description of all the work and how it was done, materials that were utilized.
And were permits submitted along with this?
No,
Oh,
we couldn't get the permit. That was the whole problem with that.
I mean, I'm sorry, did you upload the drawings?
We attempted to, we attempted to fill all the paperwork that you have in front of you in order to obtain the permit, because they would not do that on hand.
These are not building plans, these are pictures that you have here. Call me crazy, but they would need a permit, a plan, right? Yeah, so the contractor thought that he was gonna get a permit by submitting pictures. Apply. And the other thing that I noticed in the documents you provided to me, there's 2 places for 2 signatures, only one is notarized, the other one's not.
Okay.
So just even based on that, that would have been rejected because it doesn't have the required, the required signatures. Do you want a copy of this? It doesn't really have much of anything.
I have a question. The first one that you were talking about, was that for the church?
Yes, I have copies here for the $156,000 approval to get the paper, get it going, and here are some receipts. We've already given them $96,000 to get started.
Alrighty, and I saw the documents you provided were for the stairs and the stage. What about the electrical?
What electrical, man?
The fact, They have electrical, right? They have to come into compliance with the electrical.
No, they don't have electric.
This one doesn't have the electrical one?
No,
You need to see the receipts. for
Okay, so it's just the stairs on the slope.
for that one building, yes. What about for the educational building, the fire alarm in that one?
This is for both.
Okay,
They were not able to do one. They have to actually connect one with the other against
Okay.
whatever code and rules and regulations.
okay,
Yes, $156,000, probably gonna end up being around $200,000 to do all that. So they're in the process of being done.
and then do you have someone working on the emergency action plan and the approved floor plans?
Yes, the actual company that we hired to do that has said that they're going to help us put all that together as well.
Are the violations, is there anything that is a major health and safety issue?
Fire alarms, let me see. The door inspection, just because we don't know what, I did see some issues with some of the doors, so.
Okay. I'm thinking about doing the same thing as the other one, having you go in at 7 days to go ahead and take care of those, to inspect those little items.
You're talking about the door pulls? We did put the panic bars, is that what you're asking
No,
about?
I'm talking more about the NFPA 80 door inspection.
Yeah, those.
That's the one he
those
says.
Doors have been there for a long time. Like I said, we have been trying to get somebody out there. It seems that NFP 80 thing doesn't seem to be an easy thing to get an inspector to come out and inspect.
Draperies, electrical boxes. Now, a lot of what you have here is stuff that can be easily corrected.
There's a bunch of things that have already been corrected. There were a bunch of pages. And then we have the one that has all the cleared ones, all those that are.
Yeah, she has the most up-to-date one
Okay.
from that I updated this morning.
Thank you.
Educational building.
Now, yeah, if you're saying, because I've never received anything showing that any documentation showing the fabrics were treated.
No, we actually removed the fabric.
Okay, yes, I didn't receive
Yeah,
anything
I know.
regarding that.
Well, I know that Will had asked you to come out and re-inspect to get it up to date and to show you all the things that were done. And I know that he sent a bunch of pictures. I don't know which pictures he sent you, and I don't know if you ever went back to re-inspect, but yeah, those curtains were removed. And the foam was removed. And all the extension cords and all the problems and all the easy repairs that were all repaired months ago.
Part of the issue too was the contact I had for the church. Apparently she no longer works there.
Yeah, COVID made a lot of people that are no longer there.
So I was emailing back and forth, trying to email for months, and then,
With Will?
no, with her, because
Oh, okay.
I was told she was the one
Yeah,
to
she got
contact.
COVID. She was very sick and yeah, she's no longer working. Yeah, doing okay. Thank God.
Alrighty, do you have a recommendation other than the getting you in to inspect in terms of time?
Peter, I have a
Yes.
question for you. For realistically, for the alarm permit and for like the stairs and the stage, realistically, how long do you think it would take for them to complete that?
It is in the historic district and the stairs an exterior element. So I would give them 4 months for the review process, just out of an overabundance of caution.
Oh, because it's
Once
doing.
the application is deemed complete, an application will be taken in. Our offices are open and have been open to the public. So, if you have any questions, you can set up an appointment with me and I will personally meet you.
With the alarm system, you said there's one, but it's not working. And even with that one, they still need the permit. Is it something that they can easily go ahead and get up and running, even if it's for the?
No.
No, he's
It's okay.
stating that they said it needs the whole thing, so
Oh.
the
Whole
whole thing needs to be
building.
replaced.
Yeah, it's.
I was trying to see, if we could at least get, even if it's a minor alarm running.
It's a huge project. They actually told me that it's gonna probably take about 6 weeks worth of just work alone, and I don't know how long it's gonna take before the permits themselves are even.
The permits for a fire alarm are generally less than 30 days. But
Okay.
any county fire is usually a week in the building department.
Any particular issue other than getting in for safety reasons in terms of something you want done immediately?
No,
Okay. Okay, so he said for 4 months for review process. Okay, so to obtain permit within 4 months. And we'll do an additional. It's 2, 3 months to get the work done. All right. All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to obtain permits within 4 months and complete the entire project within 7 months. So the idea is to have like full compliance at 7 months, but at the 4-point mark, you need to have your permits.
Okay.
And then basically I'm allocating like 3 months to go ahead and do the actual work with inspections.
An actual date that I need to write down.
July 28th for permits and completion by October 27th.
I'm also ordering you to allow the fire marshal's office to go into the property within the next 7 days
Whatever they want.
to go ahead and inspect the property and start crossing out those items that you say have been complied. And I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 in administrative cost, which shall be also payable at the end of that 7-month period. $250 a day until the violations are corrected.
After October.
Yes. Well, if they violate, the orders, like if they don't get the permit by 4 months without good cause, or if they don't complete the work within 3 months after that, then I'll trigger $250 a day. All righty, you get something in
Thank you very
the,
much.
you get something in the mail. Thank you.
Wait outside for a minute and we'll schedule for a time for me to come in.
Okay.
Next, we're going to go to page 4 of the agenda, item number 14, case number 21-1925. Property address of 321 North L Street. Property owner is Kane Development LLC, Officer Dorsis.
See you next time.
Code Officer Fedleen Dorsey for the city of Lake Worth Beach, case number 21-1925. Owner Kane Development LLC, address 1 North Parkview Road, apartment 605, Lake Worth. Property location 321 North L Street. This case was originated as a citizen complaint. Case was initiated on August 2nd, 2021. Existing violations, 14-32 business license, 14-35 youth non-speeding inspection. The violation has been complied or resolved is 12-18 areas free of garbage and trash, 2-75.11 foreclosure registration, 2-75 6.2 general requirements, 2-75 6.6 for fire safety requirements, and 2-75.9 for landscaping. 12-17 for storage and accumulation, and 23.4-4 C and D for residential fence walls and hedges. Courtesy notes was not issued. Formal notice of violation and hearing was issued via certified mail on January 11, 2022. Certified mail was received on January 18th of 2022. The property was posted on January 26th of 2022. City Hall was posted on January 27th of 2022. The property last re-inspection was on March 28th of 2022. Photographs of the property has been taken of the violations. The city had personal contact with the property's agent. The city recommendation time for voluntary compliance is June 29th of 2022 with a fine of $100 per day plus administration costs of $425.29 to be paid by June 29th of 2022.
All right, quick question. I heard you talk about the storage and accumulation and the fence and the hedges. Are those complied with or are those?
Yes, they'll be compliant.
Okay. Perfect. So the only thing pending now is the business license and the use.
Use not to be inspection. The owner did had two use and occupancy inspections. One was a courtesy inspection that was performed by the Assistant Director of Code Compliance, Yolanda Robinson, on February 23rd. That's in the case file. The last use and occupancy inspection was conducted on March 24th of 2022. The owner failed that inspection due to not having means of egress in the living room, the rear porch in disrepair, and the window sills being in disrepair.
All righty. Now, those items that they didn't have, the two means of egress and the rear porch and the windows, those would be required for the use and occupancy inspection.
That's the inspection.
Well, I'm trying to think ahead, is that whether there's going to be permitting required on this?
That's why the only recommendation time was given 90 days, is that's an allowable time that I can actually give her. I also offered her a stipulated agreement, which she did not agree to.
Because it seems like she's, in order to get one, she's got to get, something else taken care of, and that might require permitting.
But if she can get the permit in the system and the permit is approved and ready for pickup, even if the work has not been completed, it will comply to violation because I can reference the permit.
Okay, so she doesn't have to actually finish the job for purposes of the use and occupancy license.
If the permit's in the system is approved and ready for pickup by the building department, then I can reference the permit, and say the work has not been completed, but the owner obtained an approved permit.
Now, the rear porch being in disrepair, is that something that can be, well, she would still need a demo permit even if I'm not saying that you're demoing it, I'm just talking out ideas. If the rear porch is in disrepair, is that something that would be able to be repaired without a permit, or can it be just taken down?
I don't work for the building department. I'm not, I don't have the right answer for that. But I do have photos of the actual porch inside the file. The first photo is of the property last inspection date. The second photo was from the use and occupancy inspection, which just shows the violation that was observed from use and occupancy inspection. There's one photo behind that one.
That window sill.
We were looking at the pictures. I just want to clarify for the record that to comply the violation, the permit would have to be picked up, not just approved.
Yes, it issues that take up, yeah.
To know that,
Yeah, but hold on a minute, because I'm gonna have you go ahead. You're gonna have your turn just a second. Now, the porch that you're talking about is the front porch.
The rear. Yeah,
Because that's the only-
is in the rear.
Where is that picture? I don't see a picture of it. That's why
That's the porch.
this is out in the porch. Oh, I see it. Now I got the reference. That's the window. I mean, the door.
it's really just steps to the porch. It's not a porch. There have been,
All right, hold on, ma'am, because you haven't even told me who you are. Give me a second. Are there anything else from the city?
I'm not this time.
Okay, go ahead and say your name and relationship to the case, please.
my name is Tippy Breakwell, and I'm a partner in this project. So can I tell you about my experience?
Well, what I want to hear is, I don't want to hear about experience. I want to know why we have violations. And it sounds like you're working on some type of
Okay,
project.
So 321 North L Street is a 1926 coastal cottage. It's a 96-year-old cottage. His sister cottage at the back of the property was torn down more than 30 years ago because it's so dilapidated. Don't get me wrong, I moved to Lake Worth Beach. I live on L Street myself. So I moved there more than 5 years ago. My name is Tippy Breakwell. I love history. I grew up in a 25 build in Delray, and in 1889 in Jamestown, Rhode Island. My mom was from a hammer, and I was born in Hampton.
Ma'am, let's try to focus on the actual case before us, because we still have other cases.
So my partner and I bought this home
Okay,
at 321 North L Street. My partner is also a resident of Lake Worth Beach. He thought he'd try his hand at some development. He's originally from England. He likes historic properties. So in January 2021, we bought this home. we knew, we had a complete understanding of the fact that it could never be torn down. It was protected historically and that it could never be more than a single family residence despite MF20 zoning because it only has 37.5 feet of zoning. So, but I still thought the value was there regardless because we have a real shortage of single family homes. In 21st century single family homes. Right?
Ma'am, the violations, please. I don't need to know the history of your partner and your company
So
and,
we set it out
Okay.
planning to build this out the highest and best. So the very first discussion with the city, the culture seemed to be unfriendly, unhelpful. They seemed to be intent on creating doubt and uncertainty and speculation. Getting information was like point teeth. Trying to establish a coded permitted right to build was never possible because they eluded always the arbitrary vote of the board. and
Ma'am,
refused to bear in
I'm
mind
gonna go ahead and ask you one more time. Please get to the violations. If you don't get to the
I have who
violations,
was billed. These are the plans,
I know, but do
$15,000.
you realize you're here on a business use license?
I do.
And the issue is the rotted sill.
So during.
And those
during this-
steps.
During this period, we were permitted to build this. That's when, so my builder, his partner had an unsuccessful time trying to upload the permitting things into that system that, as that man had just described. And so she asked me to take over. So due to this virtual system that they had read, following my first 3 denials on this, I'm sorry, I'm nervous and this is difficult.
No, that's okay.
I don't do this every day like y'all do. There was no other way to restart this submittal process other than to begin from scratch again. So I began attempting to preemptively get with the staff to have them look at the file prior to just building it out so that we could find out what the problem was. On the 4th attempt, they agreed to do that. And they looked and the contractor's materials were behind. So I got that. I submitted for the 5th time and they dumped it out again. And this time, the reason we kept dumping it out was because there was no way to get the notarized version of the application, which is necessary, into the template version in the front. You had to upload it with all of the documents behind, like with all of the rest. So finally, on my 6th attempt, they reluctantly went in and approved because they saw that that was there. So shortly after we got the permit, so we put in for permits, we received the multiple code violations. And I called and explained our intention to build and that we were in the permitting process. I was told it didn't matter. So I set about cleaning it up. And I have a ton of pictures here.
So, well, this is the sidewalk that they buried me on. The city is now getting bids up to $50,000 to replace the sidewalk.
Ma'am, we're here on.
I know, but this was part of the code. This is one of the things that I was cited for. So.
Ma'am, this has.
These are the pictures from the back. These are the pictures.
Ma'am, there's nothing. The only thing here in the back is gonna not even, is the rear porch, the steps.
Okay, this is.
Okay.
Okay, so this is that side.
That's the front.
That's it now. This is what it was. So as you can see, we've done a ton to repair. This is the windowsill that was cited last week, along with not enough egress to the living room, a room that has 5 doors and 3 windows. I'll say.
Yeah.
I think I have another one that I want to put in. This is another one of them. I'm making this place beautiful.
Do the right thing here. So anyway, the permitting process took a bloody long time. And during this time, we decided that it probably wasn't the right time to build. All of the supply chain issues and the labor issues. So we decided to withdraw our permits and to just fix the place up and put people in it. So I wasn't sure exactly what needed to be done, but we had cited that I had to have a business license, even though we weren't prepared. I haven't marketed this for tenancy at all. I haven't sought to put people in there at all. But because we were cited on all of this, I thought, great, that'll give me a chance. If we get it inspected, I'll know everything that I have to do. And we want to do it right. This is a man, I mean, I represent him on multiple properties, and he's not a slumlord. He does the right thing. I told him it's like a mother and daughter-in-law relationship. Daughter-in-law has.
So the property is getting fixed up to rent, right?
The property is a 1926.
Doesn't matter. It can be a tent. If you're renting it, you still need a license.
Exactly, but I haven't, as I said, I haven't even marketed it for tenancy yet, nothing.
Ma'am, I appreciate, so far, the only thing that you have showed or talked about that is relevant is this.
I was meant to do.
Ma'am, I'm not yelling at you. Please don't yell at me. Because I'm this close to throwing you out, this close.
Why?
Because you're being rude, you're not listening, and you're just going off on rants about the city and raising your voice.
I'm not raising my voice.
Now, I see the repairs that you did to the windowsill.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and, for the city to see that. I haven't seen anything in regards.
Making this for the living room.
Ma'am, final chance. Final chance.
For what?
Ma'am, okay. What is the city requesting?
Okay, now, I'm going to comment on the comment. No? Okay. All right, so the city requests that the property owner has had their use not to be inspection passed on or before June 29th of 2022, as well as getting the business license active. The owner was given the option to either register it vacant, being that the utilities were off, but now the utilities have been on since March 2nd of 2022, and the owner applied for a business license. The sidewalk violation has been resolved. I told you that multiple times. You didn't want to pressure clean it, that was perfectly fine. To pass the use not to be inspection by June 29th of 2022, which means repairing the window sill, either repairing the porch steps before the use not to be inspection or having an approved permit in the system and ready for pickup.
All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation that exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by June 29th of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected, and I'm granting the city's request for administrative fees in the amount of $425.29, which shall be due and payable by June 29, 2022. You'll get something in the back. Ma'am, I'm done. I'm done. Your case is done. I entered my order. I warned you many times.
I didn't nothing except you didn't like what I was saying.
All right, next case.
Want to go to page 4 of the agenda, item number 12, case number 21-1702. Property address is 1416 Crestwood Boulevard. Property owner is Ella E. Murphy, William R. Pritchard Jr. Estate. Officer Camacho.
Mr. Camacho, City of Lake Worth Beach, case number 2172, 1416 Crestwood Boulevard, Lake Worth. Found the property being a violation, City Code Section 12-17, remove garbage cans and recycle bins from view. 12-18, remove all garbage, trash, and debris from property. 2-75.6.2, premises identification, building should have approved house numbers displayed, poles visible and legible from the street. Swimming pools should be maintained in clean sanitary condition and in good repair. 2-75.9, cut and trim all overgrown grass, weeds, and bushes, hedges from the property. Issued formal notice violation, certified mail on 2/10/2022. Certified mail was received 2/14/2022. Property posted 2/16/2022. Property was re-inspected on 3/29/2022, found to be in non-compliance. Photographs of the property were taken. Contact with the property owner was not done. Recommendation time April 30th, 2022. Fine of $100 per day. Administrative cost $425.29 to be paid by April 30th, 2022.
We have somebody here on behalf of the property owner.
No, ma'am, we're done with all the responses.
Let's sit with the audience. All right.
I thought we looks like we might have one more person come in.
Oh,
But go ahead with this one.
Yeah. All right, so I hereby find that the violation is in the state of the notice of violation that exists and continues to exist. I'm ordering the property owners to come into compliance by April 30th of 2022. Otherwise, there's a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected. And I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 as an administrative cost incurred by the city. All right.
And can you give me the case number?
Case number is 22-340.
Page to go. Okay, we're gonna go to page 21 of the agenda, item number 53, case number 22-340, property address of 402 North Federal Highway. Property owner is 402 Lake Worth LLC, Officer Dorcius. So you can come to the podium.
I'm sorry, was it 52 or 53? Which?
Item number 53.
Okay.
And he'll need to be sworn in.
Thank you. Yes. All right, before I forget, raise your right hand. Please swear affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth. Okay. Go ahead.
Total Officer Kathleen Dorsey, City of Lake Worth Beach Code Division, case number 22-340, owner 402 Lake Worth LLC, address Lake 314 Lakeside Drive in Lake Worth, property location 402 North Federal Highway. This was a citizen complaint. The case was initiated on February 28, 2022. The owner was cited as a repeat violation for 14-35 using oxygen inspection. The following violations are not repeats, and the violation has been complied. 12-18, area free of garbage and trash, 23.5-1, signs, 23.4-19, outdoor storage, 2-75, 6.2 for general requirements. Formal notice of violation and hearing was issued via certified mail on March 1st, 2022. Certified mail was received on March 4th of 2022. The property was posted on March 3rd of 2022. City Hall was posted on March 4th of 2022. The last reinspection date was on March 23rd of 2022. Photographs of the property was taken. The city had personal contact with the owner. The city recommended a repeat violation 14-35, fined at $100 per day plus administration fee of $425.29 that commenced on February 28th of 2022 and ran until February 23rd of 2022 for a total of 23 days.
All right, and the fire safety requirement, I did not hear that that one's complied with. What's the specific requirement on that one?
Oh, that was been complied.
Oh, that one was complied, okay. So the other one, the only thing pending
All
is,
violations have been complied. It was only one violation that was a repeat,
oh, but everything has been complied with?
as well as the repeat violation.
Funds crew? All right, we may hear from the respondent. Please say your name and relationship to the case, please.
Mark Lewis.
Okay, and the repeat was the occupancy one though, right?
Yes, from the
Okay.
2019 case.
And this is, okay, 2019. And this is in reference that is a rented property, right?
Yes,
So that's the type of license, okay.
yes.
Sounds like you already got it though, right? It's already taken care of.
Yes, as far as I know, it's been paid for and everything.
Okay, so the city is looking to impose a one-time fine because of the repeat. Is that my understanding, right? A one-time fine, okay. How long have you owned this property?
It's been in the family, I don't know, around 20 years at least.
Okay. And it's always been a rental?
Yes.
All right, the city is requesting the one-time fine of $100 and the administrative fee for $25.29. When did he come into compliance?
For $100 per day for the 23 days that the.
Oh, for the 20, okay.
Yeah, I think that's excessive when late rental.
The problem I.
5% of the license.
Well, the problem I have, let me see, where is the,
And it's also within the 3 years of the last, I guess they didn't waive it. So it's within the 3-year period.
the concern I have with putting in the 23 days at $100 a day is the fact that he didn't have notice regarding the accrual of those fines if he didn't comply. At least I'm not seeing anything. I mean, it would have to be through the NOV.
He was a repeat violator.
Yeah, I did not know there were fines accruing. Also,
Is there a particular portion to the city attorneys, or is there a portion of the ordinance in regards to that's specific to Lake Worth in regards to repeat violators?
Let me double check.
Not the statutory one, the statutory again. Because my hesitation right now is if he didn't have notice that he would get fined, even if it's as a repeat violator, that has to come from somewhere.
It's not, it should be in the notice.
It's in there.
It might not have a dollar amount, but it should state that they're.
Code enforcement, this is the notice of hearing, statement of repeat violation. But March 24th, but this is what he got now. What was the compliance date on it to start with?
When did he pass his exhaustion inspection?
Let me
March 23rd.
I was ready for that inspection before that. That was just for next available date.
What I have here in the file is a statement of repeat violation and notice of hearing that was sent out on March 1st.
For repeat violation, you're not required to give time to correct. It's just that the fines can start immediately.
There has to be a finding though that the violation exists. That's where I'm hesitating, because in order, there had to be a finding of the violation. I'm just not.
No, when you note it as a repeat violation, you don't have to give it time to correct. And when it comes to hearing,
But you realize that it's retroactive.
Yes.
That's the problem I'm having, is what gives me the authority to fine him retroactively?
So it's statute 162.
It's in the statute and the code that the repeat violation, if it is a repeat, because they have been noticed of the violation before, that type
That's deemed notice.
And it's that they are having the same violation again, that you don't have to give time to correct. And as soon as the violation was cited as a repeat, fines can accrue starting that day.
But the question is, if fines can start accruing, who is determining that fine?
You define.
I'm doing it retroactively.
Yes, it's ratified. Yes.
Would you like to see
the ordinance?
Yeah, if you could go ahead and bring it over.
Okay.
I want to make sure that I'm not opening myself up to, because I've done the repeat, but normally it's one-time fine, fix it and move on.
Oh, no, mine is.
Okay, where is it?
You may have to
I think
scroll
that's
down.
excessive.
Explanation. Hold on. Miss the-
This was rodeo. Also scroll down to read from the beginning.
No time to create the violation. Hearing. Show state. Can you present to this payment? Okay. It seems to imply by virtue of the last sentence on in section 2-66. And this is part of our code. Yeah, so it's not statutory, it's a definition from the city's ordinance. Last paragraph stating the case may be presented to a special magistrate even if the repeat violation has been corrected prior to the hearing, and the notice shall so state. Okay, let's see how it was noticed. Oh, here. Let's put enforcement 5 years. Again, it sounds then that the compliance date was March 23rd.
Yes.
Okay, the bottom, it says if the court enforcement magistrate, I'm reading now from the notice you got on the mail. If the court enforcement magistrate finds that you have committed a repeat violation, the special magistrate has authority to levy fines of up to $500 a day per repeat violation. Okay, so you do have notice. And that was in March 1st of 2022. So that was before it started accruing. Okay.
Problem I have is I correct these things a few days after I get the notice and can't get an appointment till her schedule freaks out.
Did you send her an email or a message? Because normally if you do that and you say, hey, listen, I told her it was ready on this date, I'll use that date. But if you don't have anything in writing.
I spoke with, it's Jean in the office. And she said that's the first available date, and it was before this hearing.
Okay.
You're minus, cleaning up some trash that the tenants.
Well,
a lot of those things.
They're not, you're not getting tagged on that. It's the license issue. That's the one, because everything else she has been complied with. So that's not the problem.
So
I think
what did I have to do with the license issue?
the officer had, I think she wants to come in.
That wasn't his first inspection, that was his second inspection. He felt the first one, and I told him what his violations were, and then he corrected him and called for another one. And the earliest appointment was March 23rd.
Got it. But he fixed it. Oh, because you had to go ahead and give the green light.
He scheduled his first inspection. I conducted, but I believe it was like the first or second week of March. He conducted the first inspection, violations were observed, so he had to make minor repairs. So violation, so inspection failed.
For
the violation that was observed during the first use not be inspection. So the owner made the necessary corrections, called again, and rescheduled his next UNO inspection when the availability date was March 23rd.
Got it.
She wanted to do the UNO and this other inspection at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess the.
What's the date? When was the license issued? What's the actual date of the license? When was it issued?
The PTO?
Yes.
Kinley, can we look
Within
at
the
your
3
calendar?
years of the last time there was a waiver. I understand every 3 years, there's
No, now now I read the letter, it said 5. Now it's 5 years. So you can be deemed a repeat if it's within the 5 year state, the 5 year period.
no, I'm talking about the requirement for,
So you need to find a repeat in this jurisdiction, it's 5 years now.
they put forward the doing O inspection I'm being fined for.
It's for the license. So when the license gets pulled, that's your date of compliance. So that's what the date she's getting for me.
All right. As far as I know, there are no license fees due right now.
It's the fine. Because you're a repeat violator regarding the licensing. But apparently in 2019, you had the same issue and you were cited. Well, not you, the corporation got cited. So now it's showing up as a repeat violation within the 5 year period in regards to not having the license. She's looking for the date that the license issued.
The inspection was done on the 23rd, that's why she was using that date,
So that's the
compliance date.
So exactly, that's why I was looking for the date that it's issued, that's the date of compliance. So we're still with the 9/23. So regardless of anything else, the date that you actually got into compliance with the 9/23/2020. So that's the way that it's getting calculated when that license issued.
Okay, that license issues automatically after the inspection?
It sounds like
Or does
that's,
it have to be paid first? I don't understand.
let me go.
And well, the first step is first you apply and obtain your active BTR. In order for your license, your business tax receipt, in order for your license to be voluntary compliance, you must schedule and pass your use and OSPI inspection. And the actual verbiage is written on the license itself, including the number to call for the inspection. Your license is not active until both the use and OSPI inspection and the certificate has been issued. So you can have a license, but if you never schedule your inspection, you're not in compliance. No.
I'll stay here. Yolanda Robinson, City of Lake Worth Beach. Actually, those are, what they're mailed are not they're licensed, but they're just the renewal notices. The licenses are not active until all three components are active. The BTR, business tax receipt, use and occupancy registration, and use and occupancy inspection. So until all show active, they do not have a business license. So he must pass the inspection. He did not pass the inspection until what, March 23rd? Which is why she calculated the 23 days out of compliance, which is what he owed the city for the 23 days out of compliance. He's a repeat.
Got it. Right, that make it a little bit clearer, I think, for everybody. All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation that exist, the property is now in compliance. However, 23 days ran wherein the property was out of compliance. And the one violation that had been pending was the use and occupancy certificate due to the inspection. Compliance occurred on September 23rd of 2020. As such, 23 days lapsed.
March 20.
I'm sorry, March 23rd, 2020.
22. It's been a long day.
March 23rd of 2022 was compliance date. Because it's a repeat violator, having reviewed the ordinance and the actual notice provided to the homeowner, I'm going to grant the city's request in the amount of 23 days at the rate of $100 a day. That's going to be $2,300 for the one-time fine. And I'm granting the city's request in the amount of, where is it? $425.29 as administrative fee as brought by the city to the hearing today.
License, it states on the license, if it's late or not renewed in time, it's 25%.
Yeah, but the problem is that, again, you're a repeat. There's a separate issue that you have, like, for example, there's penalties that can go with getting your license either late or the percentage you're talking about, even with permitting, the same thing happens. That's a penalty. What you have here are fines based on violations of the code. So those are two different things.
$2,300 excessive. And I was within the 3-year protection period from the last.
Again, we're now at 5, so you want to make sure that,
I'm talking about the ordinance says every 3 years, we have to have a UNO inspection.
oh, okay.
And I'm within that 3-year period from the last one.
Well, no, you lapse the 3 years. I mean, you're supposed to renew it, they give you a deadline and you miss the deadline. Hence, you would have never been cited had you not been outside the time frame for you to go ahead and get your license. So even if when you got your license, you were charged a percentage on top of it as a penalty, that's separate from what we do here.
When did I get the license? Is that date?
9/23, that's the date that we've been talking about. I mean, that March 23rd. What the heck is going on September 23rd? March 23rd, that's the date it issued. That's why I kept going back to that date. So I wanted to make sure that I got it right. Okay. All right, you'll get something in the mail.
For it.
Sir, I've already spent even more time than I actually normally do after I enter my ruling. You'll get something in the mail.
Next is page 2, item number 4, case number 20-371. It's a public request for a lien reduction. Property address is 915 South F Street. Property owner is Kareem Sheldon and Associates Company, Officer Turek, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, page 2, item 4.
Item 4. Oh, that's right, we're not going now. Item 4. All right, now I got it.
Terry for the city of Lake Worth Beach, code enforcement. Stipulated agreement for lien reduction. Located at 915 South F Street, Lake Worth Beach. The violations are now in compliance. It's free of all outstanding debt. Owner does not have any other properties that the city has active code cases on. He has otherwise met all the requirements for 2-69.3 and 2-69.31. The city will recommend, the existing lien on the property is $11,700, and the owner agrees to pay $1,170 to settle the lien. The owner agrees to make payment by April 29th, 2022. If the special magistrate does not agree with the stipulated maintenance agreement, the case will be reset to a new hearing date. If the city does not receive payment, it shall be null and void, and the original amount of $11,700 will be reinstated.
Just a notation from here on out, we have nobody else remaining in the audience. There's a stipulated agreement. I have reviewed the file and the stipulated agreement, having noted that both the city and the owner have signed the document and that there's an agreement between the parties. I hereby enter an order approving the stipulated agreement wherein the existing lien of $11,700 is reduced to $1,170 if payable between April 29th of 2022, and if not paid by said deadline, it shall revert back to the full amount of $11,700. This will not continue to accrue on the basis that the property is now in full compliance.
Thank you.
They're not printing in order anymore, so. Now we're going to. Oh, where are we? I got it. I just got to find it on the agenda. We're going to go to page 21 of the agenda, item number 52. Case number 22-315. The property address is 1425 South Federal Highway. Property owner is Lake Worth Development Trust, Kirschbaum Law Office LLC is trustee, Officer Turek.
Testimony and photos and this is also a repeat. There's the,
Perfect. Thank you.
So attorney for the city of Lake Worth Beach, city code compliance, case number 22-315 is a repeat. The owner is Lake Worth Development Trust, address 2240 Palm Beach, Lakes Boulevard, Suite 250. Property location 1425 South Federal Highway. The repeat violations are highlighted in yellow for you on my violation sheet, and I will read those to you. Lake Worth business license 1432, and the use and occupancy inspection of LWCO 1435. Also, general requirements 2-75.62. There's several here. I will read them to you. Repaint all areas on structure that are peeling or cracking of paint, pressure clean roof, pressure clean structure where there is any mold on exterior structure, repair fence where missing slats and repaint entire fence both sides, repair gates to open and close properly, broken hinge. Number 6 is repair hole in ceiling in garage and repair leak. Permits may be required to contact the building department. Repair roof on gazebo, repaint, pressure clean Thompson, and repaint. The fences, walls, and gates 234-4 to repair the missing slats. That's to repair the fence as well, and to specifically state that a permit may be required. Now, those are the repeat violations. Those repeat violations began on 2/23/22, and they are still running today. So they will continue to run at $150 a day until they're complied. From then to today is 36 days. And then I have, I think there's like 2 violations that are not, 3 violations that are not repeats that I'm giving 21 days, which is 4/21/22, to have these in compliance, or also be $150 per day. And those are 12/17 to please remove trash cans out of public view, remove pile of vegetation from the northeast corner of the property and place a curb on vegetation today to be removed. 12/18, please remove all trash, junk, and debris from entire property such as pallets, furniture, buckets, concrete, etc., to have a neat and clean appearance at all times. The 2-75.64 is a plumbing violation. Please repair hole in garage ceiling where plumbing is leaking. Please repair plumbing leak, contact the building department as a permit may be required. Those are all. I believe these are in your file too. These are printouts of no Lake Worth business license. Yeah. With dates.
Is the property occupied?
It was when I first went there. It is no longer occupied at the moment, from what I can tell.
And it sounds like none of the violations are in compliance at all.
Excuse me?
It looks like nobody has even attempted to bring the property.
Nothing, no.
Compliance. Nothing.
Noticed a little something yesterday, now that I'm looking at my photos. Tied his gate, his fence up, which is not acceptable. In one place in the back, And the debris out front looks like he's bringing stuff out of the house, whoever the owner is. Or someone is bringing stuff out of the house. Pile's larger out front than it was.
All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continue to exist. As to the repeat violations, I'm granting the city's request for the accrual of fines starting on February 23rd of 2022 at the rate of $150 a day. We shall continue until the violations are corrected. In regards to all the other violations which are not repeat, I'm hereby granting the city's request to allow the property owner to come into compliance within 21 days, meaning April 21st of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are collected. And I'm also granting their city's request in the amount of $425.29 for administrative costs incurred in regards to this case, which shall also be payable within the 21-day period. Again, it being April 21st, 2022. Okay.
Next is, we're going to go to page 22 of the agenda. Item number 55, case number 22-424. Property address is 1222 South N Street. Property owner is Antonio and Caridad Pineda, Officer Turek.
And the order is under there from the last.
Got it. Thank you.
Sue Turek for the city of Lake Worth. Case number 22-424. Owner Antonio and Caridad Pineda. Property location 1222 South N. Repeat of all violations are highlighted in yellow for you. General requirements 2-75.62. Responsibility, the owner shall maintain the structures and exterior property in compliance with these requirements. A person shall not occupy which are not in sanitary and safe conditions and which do not comply with these requirements of this section. Responsibility of keeping in a clean, sanitary and safe condition. Exterior property areas, sanitation. Please clean up entire property. Remove all trash, junk, and debris. Sidewalks and driveways. Please clean all concrete sidewalks and driveways. Weeds. Please cut all trees, shrubs, bushes, grasses from an entire property. Rodent harborage. Please exterminate property. The motor vehicles, number 9 on my list there, it has complied. That repeat violation complied on 3/28/22. That's the only one that complied. So that ran for
10 days.
10 days, okay.
I think you said 3/8 to 3/28.
Yes, 3/7/38. Yeah, 3/7 is on my paper. Okay, so the rest are still. Exterior structure, again, the exterior structure shall be maintained in good repair, structurally sound and sanitary, not to pose a threat to the public, health, safety, or welfare. Protective treatment. Please repair, replace all rotten wood on structure. Please paint structure. Permit may be required by contacting the building departments to inquire about the permits. Exterior walls, all walls shall be free from holes, breaks, loose and rotting materials. Please repair or replace the walls that are rotting. Roof and drainage. The roof and flashings shall be sound, tight, and not have defects that emit rain. Roof drains, gutters, and downspouts shall be maintained in good repair. No items shall display signs of deterioration. Fences, walls, and gates, 23.4-4. The fences shall be symmetrical in appearance and conforming in a definite pattern and unique design. Please repair, replace, or remove the entire fence. A permit may be needed by contacting the building department. I have the date of when I saw the violations until today is 25 days. And I'm asking for $150 per day, and it continues until it's complied. And the 425.29 for administrative costs.
And based on, I was going along with you as you were telling this, talking about the violations, all the violations then on this particular case are repeat, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
And they complied to one, the inoperable vehicle.
but that would fall under the general requirements and there's still,
Yeah, so
there's additional stuff. Okay, got it. Alrighty, I hereby find that the violations as stated, the notice of violation that exists and continue to exist, that this is a repeat violation. And as such, I am starting, I'm imposing a fines in the amount of $150 a day, which shall begin to accrue on what was it at the date again?
3/7/22.
On 3/7/22. Which shall continue, and which will continue to accrue on the basis that the property remains out of in violation. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 for administrative costs and fees incurred by the city, which shall be payable within 60 days, being May 1st of 2022.
Thank you.
Okay. And I'm not putting in there a date for compliance because it's gonna be whenever they comply with, it's gonna be. All right, thank you.
Next, we're going to go to page 5 of the agenda, item number 18, case number 21-2508. Property address of 122 North L Street. Property owner is James Payne Jr., Officer Dale, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Okay. Officer Leticia Dell with the City of Lake Worth Beach, case number 21-2580. The City of Lake Worth Beach has entered into a stipulated agreement with property owner James Payne Jr. that the person signing the stipulated agreement have the authority to enter into the stipulation and bind, that the violations exist at the owner's property located at 122 North L Street, Lake Worth Beach, that the owner is granted until May 31st, 2020 to obtain compliance as specified in Exhibit A. Owner understands and agrees that he will not be entitled to an extension of time to correct the violations and agrees that he will not request the same. That if the owner does not correct the violations and bring the property into compliance with the code section cited in Exhibit A, by the date set forth in Section 3 above, a fine of $100 per day will be assessed. That the owner understands that the City of Lake Worth Beach Code Compliance Officer will re-inspect the property to verify whether the necessary work has been completed to correct the violation in Exhibit A.
Anything further? That's it. All right, having reviewed the file and the noted that the stipulated agreement has been signed by both the city and the property owner, I hereby approve that stipulated agreement wherein the property owner agrees to come into compliance by May 31st of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected. Yeah.
Get your file.
Your file.
Okay, next we're going to go to page 1, item number 1, case number 19-1130. Property address is 1803 Lakeworth Road, lot 50. Property owner is Vanessa Wanichi, Officer Hicks, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement for a lien reduction.
Bobby Hicks with the City of Lake Worth Beach. Owner has entered into a stipulated agreement for a lien reduction. The person who's executing the stipulated agreement has the authority to enter into this agreement. There is a code violation lien on the property located at 1803 Lake Worth Road, number 50, Lake Worth, Florida 33461. Property is otherwise free of all outstanding debts dues to the city, and all administrative costs assessed in the underlying code compliance case for the lien have been paid.
Owner does not have any other properties in the city that have active code compliance cases. Owner has otherwise met all the requirements of sections 2-69.3 and 2-69.3.1 of the city code of ordinances. The lien existing on the property totaled $23,700, and the owner agrees to pay $2,370 to settle the release of the lien. The city will recommend to the special magistrate that the order to be entered reducing the lien to $2,370, and the owner agrees to make payment by March 31st of 2023. The city does not receive the payment as set forth above. Stipulated agreement shall be null and void with no further action to be taken by the city, and the existing lien of $23,700 shall be reinstated.
Yeah, I hereby find, having reviewed the file and noted that the stipulated agreement for lien reduction has been executed by both the city and the property owner, I hereby approve the stipulated agreement wherein the property owner has agreed to make payment in the amount of $2,370, which is a 10% reduction, which is 10% of the original amount of the $23,700. The amount of $2,370 shall be paid by March 31st of 2023. That's correct, right? The 2023. Otherwise, it'll revert back to the full amount of $23,700.
And next is item number 2, case number 19-2294. This is a public request for a lien reduction at the property address of 1113 Crestwood Boulevard. Property owner is Sarah M. Rodriguez Casas. Officer head. They've entered into a stipulated agreement.
On behalf of the city of Lake Worth Beach, the person executing the stipulated agreement has the authority to enter into this agreement. There is a code enforcement lien on the property located at 1113 Crestwood Boulevard, Lake Worth, Beach, Florida 33460. The property is otherwise free of all outstanding debts and dues to the city, and all administrative costs assessed on the underlying code compliance case for the lien have been paid. Owner does not have any other properties in the city that have active code compliance cases. Owner has otherwise met all the requirements of sections 2-69.3 and section 2-69.3.1 of all city code ordinances. The lien existing on the property totals $88,600, and the owner agrees to pay $8,860 to settle the release of the lien. The city will recommend to the special magistrate that the order to be entered reducing the lien to $8,860, and the owner agrees to make payment by May 31st of 2022. The city does not, if the city does not receive payment as set forth in the stipulated agreement, shall be null and void with no further action to be taken by the city, and the existing lien amount of $88,600 shall be reinstated.
All right, having reviewed the file and noted that the stipulated agreement for lien reduction has been signed by both the city and the property owners, I hereby approve said stipulated agreement wherein the property owner agrees where the city has agreed to reduction from the original lien amount of $88,600 down to $8,860, which the property owner has agreed to pay by May 31st of 2022. Otherwise, the full amount of $88,600 will revert back if not paid within that time frame.
Okay, next we're going to go to page 5 of the agenda, item number 15, case number 21-2078, property address of 714 South Lakeside Drive. Property owner is Darlene M. Conrad, Officer Hicks, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Person signing the stipulated agreement have the authority to enter into the stipulated stipulation and bind the represented parties to the terms and conditions herein. That the violation exists on the property located at 714 South Lakeside Drive, Lake Worth Beach, Florida 33460. That the owner is granted until June 29th of 2022 to obtain compliance as specified in Exhibit A. Owner understands and agrees that she will not be entitled to any extension of time to correct the violation, and agrees that she will not request the same. The owner does not correct the violations and bring the property into compliance with the code section cited in Exhibit A by the date set forth in section 3 above, a fine of $50 per day will be assessed. That the owner understands that City of Lake Worth Beach code compliance officer will re-inspect the property to verify whether necessary work has been completed to correct the violations in Exhibit A.
I hereby find, having reviewed the file and the stipulated agreement, between the parties, that the violation, stating the notice of violation did exist, and that the parties have agreed that the property owner will comply by June 29th of 2022. Otherwise, face a fine of $50 a day until the violations are corrected. Sorry.
Okay, next we'll go to page 2 of the agenda, item number 5, case number 20-414, this is a public request for a lien reduction at 50. No, take that back, sorry. Item number 6, case number 21-1522. It's a public request for a lien reduction, property address of 400 South Dixie Highway, Tropical Point Plaza LLC, Officer Clinton Bush, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Officer Clinton Bush with the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance entered into a stipulated agreement for lien reduction with Tropical Point Plaza. Zabar Ismail, the owner and agent of the property, and he has the authority to enter into the agreement for the property located at 400 South Dixie Highway. The property is otherwise free of outstanding debts with the city, has met the requirements of sections 2-69.3, 2-69.3.1 of the City Codes of Ordinances. The lien existing on the property totals $4,100, and the owner agrees to pay $410 to settle and release the lien. The city will recommend to the special magistrate that an order be entered reducing the lien to $410, and owner agrees to make the payment by April 30th, 2022. If the city does not receive the payment as set forth above, the stipulated agreement shall be null and void, and the existing lien amount of $4,100 shall be reinstated.
Alrighty, I hereby find, having reviewed the file and noted that the stipulated agreement for the reduction has been executed by the parties, that the lien for the existing, the lien on the property in the amount of $4,100 is hereby reduced with the agreement of the parties to $410, which shall be due and payable by April 31st of 2022. Otherwise, the fine will revert back to the $4,100.
Thanks, Special.
All right.
Next, we're going to go to page 3, item number 7, case number 21-1730. This is a public request for a lien reduction at 409 South Dixie Highway. Property owners Tropical Point Plaza, Inc., Officer Clinton Bush, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Officer Clinton Bush with the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance, previously sworn, entered into a stipulated agreement with Tropical Point Plaza and the owner Zabar Ismail. The persons executing the stipulated agreement have the authority to enter into the agreement and hereby meets the requirements of Code Sections 2-69.3, 2-69.3.1 of the City Code of Ordinances, and the lien existing on the property totals $71,500. The owner agrees to pay $7,150 to settle and release the lien. The city will recommend to the special magistrate that an order be entered reducing the lien to $7,150. The owner agrees to make this payment by May 31st, 2022. And if the owner does not make this payment by the date set forth above, that the lien amount of $7,150 shall be reinstated.
Okay, I have hereby find, having reviewed the file and noted that the stipulated agreement for the reduction has been executed by the parties, that the city has agreed to that the lien, the amount of $71,500 will be reduced to $7,150, which the owner has agreed to pay by May 31st of 2022, not paid by May 31st of 2022. The amount will revert back to the original amount of $71,500.
Next is item number 9, case number 21-367, property address of 427 South Dixie Highway. Property owner is Iglesias de Maria, Inc., Officer Clinton Bush, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Officer Clinton Bush with the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance Division entered into a stipulated agreement with Iglesias de Maria, Inc., and the owner entered into the agreement have the authorization to enter into the agreement for 427 South Dixie Highway. That the owner is granted until May 31st, 2022 to obtain compliance as specified in Exhibit A. The owner understands that he or she will not be entitled to any extension of time to correct the violations. And that if the owner does not correct the violations to bring the property into compliance with the code section cited in Exhibit A by the date set forth, a fine of $100 per day will be assessed. The owner understands that the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance Officer will reinspect the property to verify whether the necessary work has been completed.
All right, I hereby find that the violations stated in the notice of violation did exist, having reviewed the file and read the stipulated agreement, having it been executed by both the property owner and the city, I hereby approve the same, wherein the property owner has agreed to come into compliance by May 31st of 2022. Otherwise, face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected.
Next is page 4 of the agenda, item number 11, case number 31-1505. Property address is 124 North E Street. Property owner is Kent Demonbrun, Officer Clinton Bush, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Officer Clinton Bush with the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance Division entered into a stipulated agreement with Kent Demonbrun, and that the owner agent described had the authority to enter into the agreement, and that the violations exist at the owner's property located at 124 North E Street. The owner is granted until May 31st, 2022 to obtain compliance as specified in Exhibit A, and that the owner, if the owner does not correct the violations and bring the property into compliance with the code section cited in Exhibit A that's set forth above, that a fine of $100 per day will be assessed, and that the owner understands that the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance Officer will reinspect the property to verify necessary work has been completed to correct the violations in Exhibit A.
And I hereby find the violations as stated in the notice of violation that exist, having reviewed the file and the stipulated agreement having been signed by both the city and the property owner, I hereby approve the content of the stipulated agreement, wherein the property owner has agreed to come into compliance by May 31st of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are correct.
Next is page 13 of the agenda, item number 33, case number 22-9, property address is 1550 Lake Avenue. Property owner is Tropical Organic Corp, Officer Clinton Bush, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Officer Clinton Bush with the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance Division entered into a stipulated agreement for Tropical Organics Corporation, and that the owner has the authority to enter into the stipulated agreement for the property located at 1515 Lake Avenue. That the owner is granted until May 31st, 2022 to obtain compliance as specified in Exhibit A, and that if the owner does not correct the violations and bring the property into compliance with the code section cited in Exhibit A fine of $100 per day will be assessed, and that the owner understands that the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance Officer will re-inspect the property to verify that necessary work has been completed to correct the violations.
All right, I hereby find that violations as stated in the notice of violation did exist, and having reviewed the case file and the stipulated agreement, which was signed by both the city and the property owner, I hereby approve said agreement, wherein the property owner has agreed to come into compliance by May 31st, 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected.
Next is page 15, item 40, case number 22-116, property address of 503 South E Street. Property owner is trust number 503 Land Trust Service Corp. Trustee, Officer Clinton Bush, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Officer Clinton Bush with the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance Division entered into a stipulated agreement with Trust No. 503 Land Trust Services, and that the person signing the stipulated agreement have the authority to enter into the stipulation agreement, and that the owner's property located at 503 South East Street, that the owner is granted until May 31st, 2022 to obtain compliance as specified in Exhibit A, and that if the owner does not correct the violations and bring the property into compliance with the code section cited in Exhibit A, that a fine of $100 per day will be assessed. And the owner understands that the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance Officer will re-inspect the property to verify whether necessary work has been completed to correct the violations in Exhibit A.
Having reviewed the file and finding the property is in violation as per the notice of violation, having reviewed the stipulated agreement, which has now been signed by both the city and the property owner, I hereby approve the same, wherein the property owner has agreed to come into compliance by May 31st, 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected.
Thanks, Special.
Next is item 42, case number 22-140, property address of 324 South C Street. Property owner is Janet Rosa, Officer Clinton Bush, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Officer Clinton Bush with the City of Lakewood Beach Code Compliance Division entered into a stipulated agreement for the repeat violation with Janet Rosa. Janet Rosa, or agent of the owner of the property, has the right to enter into the stipulated agreement, and that the violations existed at the owner's property located at 324 South C Street in Lakewood Beach, Florida, and that the violations for the code section cited are attached as Exhibit A from February 2nd, 2022 to March 14, 2022, and that the said violations were repeat violations, and that the owner is now in compliance with the code sections, that the owner agrees to a payment of $5,850 for the repeat violations that occurred from February 2nd, 2022 to March 14, 2022, at a daily amount of $150. And that by signing the stipulated agreement, the owner agrees that all procedural due process rights relieved in the case are hereby waived. The owner recognizes that the stipulated agreement and the order on the stipulated agreement may be recorded for public records.
Right, this one at some point in time is gonna come back to me for certification, right?
I'm sorry.
This is gonna come back to me, because it doesn't have like the time frame from when they got, oh, that's right, never mind. Alrighty, I hear, having reviewed the file and read over the stipulated agreement for repeat violation, having the parties both from the city and the owner having signed the document, I hereby approve the same, wherein the property owner has, now that the property is in compliance, has agreed to pay the amount of $5,850. We don't have a time frame for it.
She's in compliance. A time frame for
the payment of the fees.
When do you want to pay?
So that's what I'm saying. It's at some point in time, it's gonna have to come back to me if they don't pay it for certification.
Correct. If they don't pay, well, it's gonna be a lien because you're gonna sign an order. So we're gonna record it.
Exactly.
It's a recorded lien. It's already-
Yeah. Okay, so, all right, so I approve the stipulated agreement. Yeah, stipulated. Non-compliance, $5,850.
Okay, next is page 16, item 43, case number 22-145, property address of 328 South C Street. Property owner is Leticia Lopez, Officer Clinton Bush.
Also, Clinton Bush with City of Liquid Beach Code Compliance Division, case number 22-0145, in the property address at 328 South C Street. Found the property to be in violation of the code section cited, which is violations, Lakewood Code of Ordinances 2-75.11, vacant property registry, that the vacant property shall be registered with vacant property registry. There were other code violations that has been since complied. That was code sections 12-18, 15-39, 2-75.6.2. Those are all in compliance at this time. The only outstanding violation is the vacant property registry, Lakewood Code of Ordinances 2-75-11. Issue formal notice of violation and notice of hearing by certified mail on February 22nd, 2022. The certified mail was received on February 5th, 2022. The property was posted in City Hall on February 7th, 2022. The property was re-inspected on March 29th, 2022, and found to be in non-compliance. I do have photographs of the property in question and also information showing that it's still not registered with vacant property registry. There has been no contact with the owner. At this time, the city is recommending that the property owner come into compliance by April 29, 2022, or a fine of $50 per day be assessed and an administrative cost of $425.29 to be paid by April 29, 2022.
All right, I hereby find, based on the evidence presented, that the violations as stated and the notice of violation that exist and continue to exist, thereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by April 29th of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $50 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 for administrative costs incurred by the city and bringing this matter before the magistrate.
Thank you, Special Magistrate.
Next is item 45, case number 22-160, property address of 217 South B Street. Property owner is Nathan De Leon, Officer Clinton Bush.
About that. Officer Clinton Bush with the City of Liquid Beach Code Compliance Division in case number 22-0160. Owner's address is 217 South B Street. Found the property to be in violations of the city codes of ordinances as attached, which is Lakewood Code of Ordinances 2-75.9, landscape and maintenance to trim all trees, hedges, and bushes, Lakewood Code of Ordinances 12-18, for areas to be free of garbage, trash, and debris, Lakewood Code of Ordinances 2-75.6.2, the exterior of the structure shall be maintained in good repair, structurally sound, sanitary, so not to pose a threat. Lakewood Code of Ordinances 2-75.6.6 is our fire safety requirements to remove all open boards and shutters covering the windows. At this time, Lakewood Code of Ordinances I believe it's 15-2 for the refrigeration or the refrigerator stored on the porch that has since been removed and is in compliance. Issued a formal notice of violation notice hearing by certified mail on February 10th, 2022. The property was posted in City Hall on February 14, 2022. The property was re-inspected on March 30th, 2022, found to be in non-compliance. I do have photographs taken of the property, which is a clear and accurate representation of what I witnessed. At this time, the city is recommending that the property come into compliance by April 29, 2022, a fine of $100 per day, and an administrative cost of $425.29 to be paid by April 29, 2022.
All right, hereby find that the violations as stated and the notice of violation that exists and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by April 29th of 2022. Otherwise, face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 for administrative costs incurred in bringing this matter before the magistrate, which shall also be paid by April 29th of 2022.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we're going to go to page 20, item 49, case number 22-205, property address of 525 North H Street. Property owner is Janet Rosa, Officer Clinton Bush, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
Also, Clinton Bush, Liquor Beach Co-Compliance Division, entered into a stipulated agreement for repeat violation case number 22-205 with Janet Rosa, owner or agent of the property, and that the person signing the stipulated agreement have the authority to enter into the stipulation, and that the violation existed on the owner's property located at 521 North H Street, and that the violations for the code section cited are attached as exhibit A from February 9, 2022 to March 14, 2022, and said violations were repeat violations, and that the owner is now in compliance with the code sections, and that the owner agrees to a payment of $4,950 for the repeat violations that occurred from February 9, 2022 to March 14, 2022 at a daily amount of $150. And that by signing the stipulated agreement, the owner agrees to all the procedural due process rights relative to the case are hereby waived. The owner recognizes that the stipulated agreement and the order in the stipulated agreement may be recorded in public record.
Yeah, hereby find, having reviewed the file, and heard the testimony that the violations stated in the notice of violation that exist, that this is a repeat violator, and that there's a stipulated agreement that has been executed by the city and the property owner, and as such, I'm approving said agreement wherein the owner has agreed to pay $4,950 to the city in regards to the repeat violations.
Thanks,
That's it. Okay, next we're going to go to page 2 of the agenda, item number 5, case number 20-414, property address of 504 South Dixie Highway. Property owner is J. Delarm LLC, Officer Dorcius, and this is a request for a lien reduction. They've entered into a stipulated agreement.
The City of Lake Worth Beach and property owner J. Alarm LLC, also doing business at Sunshine Inn. The person executing the stipulated agreement have the authority to enter into this agreement and bind. There is a code enforcement lien on the property located on 504 South Dixie Highway in Lake Worth Beach. The owner has otherwise met all the requirements of sections 2-69.3 and 2-693.1 of the city's code ordinance relating to the reduction of code enforcement liens. The lien existing on the property totals to $16,700, and the owner agrees to pay $1,670 to settle and release the lien. The city will recommend to a special magistrate that an order be entered reducing the lien to $1,670, and the owner agrees to make the payment by May 2nd of 2022. If the city does not receive the payment as set forth above, the stipulated agreement shall be null and void with no further actions being taken by the city, and the existing lien amount of $16,700 shall be reinstated.
Ready? Having reviewed the file and heard the testimony from the officer, I hereby find, and having looked at the stipulated agreement, which has now been signed by both the city and the property owner, I hereby approve said stipulated agreement wherein the property owner has agreed to, the city has agreed to reduce their lien in the amount of $16,700 to $1,670, which the owner has agreed to pay by May 2nd of 2022. Otherwise, the lien amount will revert back to the original amount of $16,700.
Next is page 5, item 17, case number 21-2569. Property address of 227 North Lakeside Drive. Property owner is Edith G. Ashton Trust, Officer Dorcius.
Case number 21-2569, owner Ashton E. G. Trust, address 1607 Forest Lane, McLean, Virginia. Property location 227 North Lakeside Drive. This was a citizen complaint. The case initiated on November 4th of 2021. The existing violation is 14-35, use NOSFI inspection. The owner failed their last inspection on March 23rd of 2022. The violation that's been complied is 14-32, business license. The formal notice of violation in hearing was issued via certified mail on January 12th, 2022. The certified mail was not received. The property was posted on January 26th of 2022. City Hall was posted on January 27th of 2022. The property last reinspection was March 29th of 2022. Photographs of the property has been taken. The city had personal contact with the owner. The recommendation time for voluntary compliance is May 31st of 2022, or a fine of $75 per day, plus the administration cost of $425.29 due on May 31st, 2022.
All right, I hereby find that the violations as stated in the notice of violation that exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by May 31st of 2022. Otherwise, face a fine of $75 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 in regards to administrative costs incurred in bringing this matter before the magistrate. That amount shall be payable by May 31st, 2022.
Next is page 6, item 19, case number 21-582, property address of 1 North Gulfview Road, unit 500. Property owner is Georgianne Bibby, Officer Dorcius.
Number 25-2582, owner Georgiana Fifth, 3341 Babcock Boulevard, the owner's address is 3341 Babcock Boulevard, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Property location is 1 North Gulfview Road, Unit 500. This started as a citizen complaint. The case was initiated on November 8, 2021. The existing violations are 14-32, business license, 14-35, use NOSFI inspection, 23.21-21, an expired building permit from 2017. Correction, 23.2-21 building permit for an expired permit from 2017. The formal notice of violation was issued via certified mail on January 12, 2022. Certified mail was received on January 18th of 2022. The property was posted on January 18th of 2022. City Hall was posted on January 26th of 2022. The property last reinspection was March 28th of 2022. Photographs of the property has been taken. The city had personal contact with both the tenant and the property owner. The recommendation time for voluntary compliance is May 2nd of 2022. Or pay a fine of $75 per day, plus administration cost of $425.29 paid by May 2nd of 2022.
I find that the violations as stated in the notice of violations that exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by May 2nd of 2022. Otherwise, face a fine of $75 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 for administrative costs incurred by the city and bringing this matter before the magistrate. Said amount shall be payable by May 2nd of 2022.
Next is page, we're staying on the same page. Item number 21, case number 21-2623, property address of 515 North Lakeside Drive. Property owner is CHR LP, Officer Dorcius, and they've entered into a stipulated agreement.
The City of Lake Worth Beach and property owner CHR LP has entered into a stipulated agreement that the person that signed the stipulated agreement has the authority to enter to a stipulation and bind, that the violation exists at the owner's property located at 515 North Lakeside Drive in Lake Worth Beach. The owner is granted until June 29th of 2022 to obtain compliance as specified in Exhibit A. The owner understands and agrees that she will not be entitled to an extension of time to correct the violation and agree that she will not request the same. That if the owner does not correct the violation, bring the property into compliance with the code section cited in Exhibit A by the date set forth in Section 3 above, a fine of $100 per day will be assessed. The owner understands that City of Lake Forest Beach Code Compliance Officer will re-inspect the property to verify whether necessary work has been completed to correct the violation in Exhibit A.
Here, having reviewed the file and heard the testimony from the code officer, I hereby find that the violations listed in the notice of violation did exist, that there has been a stipulated agreement entered between the city and the property owner, both of which have already signed said agreement. I hereby approve the stipulated agreement wherein the property owner has agreed to come into compliance by June 29th of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected.
Okay, next is page 7, item 25, case number 21-2716, property address of 511 6th Avenue North, property owner is Hedgerow 1, LW, Florida, LLC, Officer Dorcius.
Case number 21-2716, property owner Hedgerow 1, Lake Worth, Florida, LLC. Address is 3623 North Andrews Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Property location 511 6th Avenue North. This started as a citizen complaint. The case was initiated on December 7th of 2022. The existing violation is 14-35, use not to be inspection. The owner's last approved inspection was on December 8th of 2017. The violation that's been complied or resolved is 12-18, area free of garbage and trash. 23.4-19, outdoor storage. 23.4-74, parking lot arrows and striping. 12-17, storage accumulation. 12-75, 6.2, general requirements. A formal notice of violation of the hearing was issued via certified mail on January 12, 2022. Certified mail was received on January 18, 2022. The property was posted on January 26 of 2022. City Hall was posted on January 27th of 2022. The property last for inspection was on March 28th of 2022. Photographs of the property has been taken. The city had no personal contact with the owner. The city recommends the property be complied by May 2nd of 2022. Will pay a fine of $100 per day plus administration costs of $425.29 due on May 2nd, 2022.
Alrighty, having reviewed the file and heard the testimony of the court officer, I hereby find that the violation is listed in the notice of violation that exists and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by May 2nd of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violation is corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 in administrative costs incurred in bringing this matter before the magistrate. Said amount shall be paid by May 2nd of 2022.
Okay, page 8, item 26, case number 21-2750, property address of 4 Avenue, property owner is Codner Real Estate Holdings, LLC, Officer Dorcius.
Case number 21-2750, owner Codner Real Estate Holdings, LLC. Address is 100 East Dania Beach Boulevard, Dania, Florida. Property location 824 Lake Ave. This was a field observation. The case was initiated on 12/14/2021. Existing violations 14-32, business license. The owner does not have an active business license. The violations that's been complied or resolved is 14-35 for use not to be inspection and 2-75 6.2 for general requirements. Formal notice of violation here was issued via certified mail on January 12, 2022. Certified mail was not received. The property was posted on January 18th of 2022. City Hall was posted on January 26th of 2022. The property last for inspection was on March 28th of 2022. Photographs of the property was taken. The city had no personal contact with the owner, but did speak with someone who said they were an agent for the owner. The recommendation of voluntary compliance is on May 2nd, 2022, or pay a fine of $100 per day plus administration cost of $425.29 to be paid by May 2nd of 2022.
Having reviewed the file and heard the testimony from the court officer, I hereby find that the violations listed in the notice of violation that exist and continue to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance by May 2nd of 2022, otherwise face a fine of $100 a day until the violations are corrected. I'm also granting the city's request in the amount of $425.29 in administrative costs incurred by the city, bringing this matter before the magistrate. Said amount shall be paid by May 2nd, 2022.
Okay, next, we're going to go to the authorization of foreclosure agenda. record, Krista Simmons, Compliance Admin Manager. The following cases have all been recorded. The liens have been recorded for more than 90 days, and the city is requesting authorization of foreclosure. And I'll just read in the case numbers. Case number 14-2219, case number 14-2221, case number 14-2222, case number 14-2241, case number 14-2254, case number 14-2258, case number 19-2342, case number 19-2345, case number 19-2349. Did I say that before? Or case number 22-2345, case number 19-2349, case number 19-2351, case number 19-2352, case number 19-2355, case number 19-2361, case number 19-2362, case number 19-2363, case number 19-2364, case number 19-4113, case number 20-1325, case number 20-1594, and case number 20-1653.
In regards to all those numbers listed, and based on the representations from the city, these cases are ripe for foreclosure proceedings, and as such, I'm authorizing foreclosure. The city, I hereby authorize the city to go ahead and move with foreclosure proceedings. Okay, that's that. Is that it? All right, that concludes our agenda for today. Thank you, everyone.